Tallahassee, I'm student meteorologist Robert Zott, and you can see an absolutely beautiful scene outside of Doak Campbell Stadium. I mean, always beautiful, the most beautiful stadium in the world. Who am I kidding? But of course, we have this really nice day outside for us. Currently 70 degrees and partly cloudy. Winds from the south. We have a little bit of southerly flow at 9 miles per hour. So a really nice day for us tonight. And you can see why. We have some showers and thunderstorms off to our north, a few clouds to our south, but this really nice sort of empty spot for us here. So take advantage of it while we have it, because these storms are going to be moving in later. Tonight, 64 and overcast, winds from the south at about 8 miles per hour. So again, a fairly nice night. However, tomorrow, 73 and stormy. We are going to see these storms sort of increase. We have actually a marginal risk. However, it's not going to be anything more than a few straight line winds, very isolated. So on tonight's show, will it stay warm? A few storms ahead. And what is an atmospheric river? We're going to see all this tonight on tonight's edition of FSU Weather.
Hello guys, I'm student meteorologist Chandler Pruitt, and I'm going to talk about our local conditions. Currently, you can see those clouds over Doak Campbell. You got a nice pretty sunset in the back, and our current temperatures are at 70 degrees. We have partly cloudy conditions with winds coming out of the south at 9 miles per hour. When we look at that radar, we have basically no clouds in sight unless you go down, or thick clouds in sight, excuse me, until you get into the Gulf. We are slightly cloudy here, and those clouds will roll in from the west. Our current radar, when we zoom out, we can see that we have some rain in Mississippi, but over here in Tallahassee, we're pretty clear. That will change, however. Our current conditions, 70 across most of the area. We have 73 in Bainbridge, 67 Apalachicola. And then our dew points are way higher than they usually are this time of year. We have 66 degrees in Apalachicola and 63 in Tallahassee, 61 in Valdosta. Those wind speeds, we have winds coming out of the south, which can contribute to that dew point. We have really high dew points. That usually means that we have moisture coming in from a body of water. So we have those winds coming out of the south, bringing in moisture from the Gulf, and we are a little bit more humid than we normally are. We have those those clouds rolling in with some storms tomorrow. We can expect for a few of them to be marginally severe, but for the most part, we should be safe. And then when we go into the day planner, we do need to keep an eye out. Storms for most of the day. It will be rainy for most of the day as well. Temperatures will get up to 73, but we won't be able to enjoy it as much. And we will be able to see potentially some thunder and lightning. However, that will be spotty at best. For the week ahead, we can see that it will be stormy on Tuesday as well as Wednesday. That is our basketball game, so we will talk about that later. However, we will need to keep an eye on that when you're going to the basketball game. And then we will have those temperatures drop pretty quickly into Thursday, and we'll get only to 56 for our high. Look at our low, it will get into the 30s again, which will be really different than what we are expecting tonight at 66. And then getting into Friday, we'll have some more sunshine. That's great, making up for the next 2 days that we currently are expecting crazy rainy conditions. And then we get into Saturday, we can also expect for those clouds to start to roll in, but nice conditions relatively until you get into Sunday. Sunday, we will see some rain potentially. And then we get into Monday, there will also be some rain. But overall, it's going to be a rainy week, and we can expect a little clear up on Thursday and Friday.
Right, thank you for that. You can see that we are seeing a little bit of a rainy week, but right now we are looking at fairly nice conditions around the entire southeast. You can see 70s and 60s for most of you guys on the I-20 corridor. Maybe going to a little bit warmer in Florida, 72 in Tampa, even, of course, 75, our warm spot in Miami. But right now, you can see it is going to be a little bit on the wetter side with all this southerly flow. As Chandler mentioned earlier, you can see it's 67 in New Orleans, 63 in Tallahassee, 67 in Miami. So all these dew points are fairly wet for us right now. We are, however, looking at also southerly flow. A lot of wind here. 13 miles per hour at New Orleans, 9 at Tallahassee. A little bit weaker than earlier, but still fairly windy. 14 Jackson, 13 Montgomery, and of course 8 in Miami. Satellite radar, you can really see this big weather event that's coming in for us later. All of these showers and thunderstorms are making their way into the southeast as this cold front makes its way into the region. Right now, only a few clouds for us right now, and we only don't have much of this into our region yet, but we do actually have a little bit of a marginal risk tomorrow. However, a slight risk tonight that we're actually watching, maybe an isolated large hail and damaging wind threat. So all of you guys in northern Alabama, Mississippi, and central Tennessee are going to need to watch your weather tonight. Of course, as we're moving into the next 48 hours, you can see this line of storms moving its way into Tallahassee and Jacksonville. And it starts to clear out a little bit, but we do have another wave coming in as we get into Wednesday. All these storms, however, are going to be mostly just below severe levels. They're not going to be too terribly bad for us, but we could, of course, see a marginal isolated straight line winds threat with some of these storms. So you're going to need to watch them going into the next few days. Our temperatures here, tonight's forecast, you can see a very, very nice day for us here in the southeast as we see nice temperatures basically everywhere east of the front. 66 New Orleans, 66 Montgomery, 62 Atlanta, and of course our warm spot in Miami and Key West, 70 and 71. You can see behind that front though, quite a bit cooler, 44 in Little Rock and 46 in Shreveport. So we're seeing these nice and cool temperatures sort of invade our region again. As Chandler was saying earlier on our 7-day, we are watching maybe even a dip into the 30s later on. You can see tomorrow's forecast, these highs are going to be fairly indicative for us during this spring. You can see these temperatures here. Of course, we have our 80s in Florida, Miami, always our warm spot. And you can see, however, nice and cool temperatures up for you guys in Little Rock, 60, 70 in Jackson, 75 in Charleston, 74 in Tallahassee, and 78 in Jacksonville. So, of course, we have a really nice day here for most of us. Watching those showers and storms maybe come in, but always a good day for us in the winter in the southeast. Now I'm going to be passing things off to Jonathan.
So they say no one opens the door for a native New Yorker, but I'm going to go ahead and open the door for a forecast for our producer Lindsay Parmet's hometown of New York, where there's quite an interesting weather pattern set up. As you heard Robert mention in the past segment, a cold front is stretching from Louisiana up into the northeast with a low pressure system at the head of this system, and that's going to produce some snowy conditions into New York. Right now, these snowy conditions are into the Delmarva region with some snow in Washington, D.C. and some mixed icy precipitation up and down the Appalachian Mountains. This system is eventually going to push northeast and create a wintry mess. As you can see behind me, winter weather advisory in effect for most of the state of Pennsylvania, the entire state of Delaware, and then running up along the I-95 corridor into New York City itself, where we could see up to 2 inches of snow and maybe a slight coating of ice. So this snow color is this purple that is going to fill in as the low pressure system moves northwards. And that is going to hover over New York City for a little bit. But then you also see this sliver of pink in between the Philadelphia to New York City corridor, right along the Lincoln Tunnel, and where that is going to be a little bit of icy precipitation, which is going to coat whatever snow accumulates with a thin layer of ice and create possibly a travel nightmare. So if you can work from home tomorrow and you're watching from New York City, I would definitely advise doing so. That means you will get out of both the COVID mess and the potential wintry weather mix. Tonight in New York City, I know that graphic says there's going to be flurries. That's just that's indicative of the flurries and the snow showers that are coming tomorrow. Tonight it should be mostly clear in New York City. Temperatures are going to drop below freezing, which will then allow the ground in the urban heat island to become more cooler and then allow for these accumulations. And that'll head into your 3-day forecast, where tomorrow, notice we are saying snow. The temperature is going to get a little bit above freezing, so potentially looking at an event where snow accumulates and then melts a little bit and gets a little bit slushy. But then we're going to warm up a little bit on Wednesday, but then notice on Thursday, temperatures are going to plummet. I was discussing with Lindsay about her hometown, and when Thursday is about 33 degrees, that's not actually going to feel like 33 degrees. There's going to be strong winds coming in on the backside of the system that are going to push your wind chill down to about 22. And then as that snow is falling tomorrow, those temperatures are going to get really, really cold in New York City. So make sure that you are prepared for this. Isn't necessarily going to be your biggest blizzard type event, but this is going to be a potential little bit of a travel headache. So as we look at this, we're going to go back towards Tallahassee and look at maybe some more interesting lifestyle options in here.
Yes, so thank you, Jonathan. That was a very informative segment. Now we can go back to Tallahassee and we can see that those conditions, we got clouds over Doak Campbell, very pretty. You got that nice pink sunset, very nice to see. Let's talk about those airport delays. Well, there aren't any. We actually are not expecting any delays because we are in those nice conditions where it's cloudy a bit, but it's not no severe threat yet. We go into basketball. So conditions, you can expect there will be some rain on Wednesday, and that will be a bit of an issue, especially when you're coming in to the building and when you're leaving the building. Also, temperatures will be dropping. This is 65, but it will drop from 70 to 65. So we can see that those temperatures will start dropping, and they will correlate with that cooler temperature on Thursday. We can also hope that while the temperatures will decrease, our team will rise in the polls. Currently, they are 16th. They won against Clemson. They smacked them around a little bit. Let's see if they can do the same thing to our rivals, Miami. Talking about that dog walk forecast, well, mainly the conditions will be rainy for tomorrow, so probably shouldn't walk your dog. It will also be stormy, so that really, honestly, you shouldn't. You'll have temperatures rising to upper 60s, but we can't really enjoy it. We'll just get to enjoy it from inside our houses, looking outside. And then we can look at the weekend planner. So Friday will be way better. We talked about Thursday, it'll be cooler. Friday will warm up a tad bit. It'll be nice and enjoyable. Saturday, we can see those same conditions continue. We'll warm up a bit, though. We'll have those clouds come in. They kind of trap the heat a little bit, so we will see those temperatures stay a little bit higher than they were on Friday and than they were on Thursday. Then we go into Sunday, and Sunday is going to be potentially rainy, although it's kind of far out, so we don't know when to expect, but you can stay aware. Now I'm going to pass things off to Jonathan.
Yeah, so taking a look at our national forecast, I know I briefly just talked about New York City, but you can really see where this cold front is. Look at the temperature gradient between Memphis here at 67 and then Kansas City, just a quick interstate drive away, over a 30-degree difference. So this is a rather potent cold front system tracking all the way across. You have this little southern isolation bubble of warm temperatures, but that is quickly going to change. But notice that these, where the warmer temperatures are, you have the deeper green on the dew point map, meaning the air is more moist, and that is going to contribute to the storm system that we have in this region. You'll notice storms are starting to fire up from New Orleans up into my hometown of Huntsville, Alabama, where Robert pointed out earlier, and Chandler also pointed it out, there is a slight risk of convective severe thunderstorms in that region. Right now, no watches in that region. However, we have winter storm advisories stretching from New York City all the way down into El Paso and even into California, where there's an event going on right now called an atmospheric river that we'll get into later. But as I was just doing in my last segment, currently in Washington, D.C., in the Delmarva region, there is a winter system that is going to be pushing northward into New England. This is going to be rainy and the famous D.C. snow hole. Another winter system stretched across the Midwest from Chicago through Omaha down into Kansas. This one is going to be more of your classic northern central plains system where you have blizzard conditions occurring in Iowa. Do not recommend driving on the interstate in Iowa right now. Will likely be in whiteout conditions stretching from Iowa to Chicago into Omaha. And then moving into the southwest, this is where things start to get very interesting, because when you consider the desert southwest, that's usually your dry region. That's usually your desert. However, you'll notice there is snow in Arizona. There is rain in Arizona. It is raining in the desert in Las Vegas, and it is raining in Death Valley, which is going to be a little bit confusing. And that's what this atmospheric river event I pointed out earlier. You'll notice that this region is in severe, actually, we're going to categorize that as exceptional drought, stretching from the border up into the Rocky Mountains. And that is going to be somewhat alleviated, maybe even emboldened by this atmospheric river that's going to cause some problems in the area. But looking back out at a bigger picture, you do have a slight chance of a thunderstorm in South Arizona, but our bigger risk is across the southeastern United States, specifically in the Columbus, Mississippi, the Huntsville, Alabama, and then the Nashville, Tennessee suburbs. That is where there is a slight risk this evening for damaging winds, maybe a little bit of hail. Not looking at too big of a tornado threat with this system, but damaging winds can be just as damaging to your home as a tornado. Moving into tomorrow, Tallahassee is going to have very similar conditions, not necessarily as high chances of severe thunderstorms, but there still is going to be a marginal risk of a thunderstorm with a few damaging wind gusts moving into the area. Looking at tonight's forecast, -1 is going to be your low temperature in Minneapolis. That is way too cold for me personally, but as we move into tomorrow, temperatures should heat up to 16 in Minneapolis, remain warm in the south, and then cold across the Pacific Northwest and the Northeast. And now we're going to go back into Tallahassee with Robert.
Jonathan, we're not getting anything close to that -1 you saw, but we do have fairly nice conditions for us outside at Doak Campbell Stadium. Always got to plug it, the most beautiful stadium in the world. 6:17 p.m., beautiful sunset out here. We've got these clouds coming into the region. A really nice sunset tonight, and that's really accentuated by this southerly flow, which is 9 miles per hour, bringing a little bit of this moisture in, giving us some cloud cover, but no storms here right now. Partly cloudy at 70 degrees. You can see the satellite radar, a little bit of these showers and storms sort of making their way a little bit eastward. Gonna take them some time to get here. Probably don't expect it tonight, but maybe into tomorrow we're gonna start to see this cold front give us a chance of thunderstorms. But right now tonight, we're watching the area up in Mississippi and Alabama for a potential slight risk of severe thunderstorms, as Jonathan was saying. You can see this southerly flow I was talking about, 8 in St. Marks, 9 in Tallahassee, 9 in Apalachicola, 8 in Donaldsonville, all from the south, coming from the south and giving us these kind of muggy-ish, fairly nice conditions, but a little bit on the muggier side. You can see 70 Tallahassee, 67 Apalachicola, 70 in Thomasville, but you can see these dew points. It's a little bit uncomfortable here. These temperatures are nice, but I'm not sure if I vibe with these. It's 66 in Apalachicola, 63 in Tallahassee, 63 in Thomasville. I mean, it could be worse. It's Florida, so I'm not going to complain too much. You can see on the next 24 hours, we have these showers and storms sort of moving in, this cloud cover moving in. We've got a little bit of thunderstorm chances here, and some of these may have a small potential to be severe. We're going to be watching them, of course, as we go into Tuesday evening and night. But we're going to see maybe a few straight line winds, as I was saying, is the main risk here. But again, not a major event. No big severe events like later. It's just a marginal risk. But of course, it's nothing to sneeze at. Always make sure you stay prepared. Looking at the day planner forecast for tomorrow, storms 65, and it's just storms. Getting a little bit warmer towards noon, 70, and going to have our high around 3 p.m. at 73 degrees. The week ahead, you can see here, we kind of have a dichotomy. These first few days, it's going to be kind of rainy, shower thunderstorms, but we have that cold front coming in. See, look at that, 56 degrees on Thursday. Man, that's insane. But it does warm up, of course, it's Florida, and we do see it warming up towards Saturday, and we have those showers and thunderstorms return as we get into the weekend and next week. So with these really nice rain chances here, showers and thunderstorms, you're going to have to need to watch on Wednesday, maybe watching our basketball team, but enjoy these beautiful conditions no matter if it's rainy or sunny here. So now I'm going to pass things off to Jonathan for a talk about atmospheric rivers.
Yeah. Things we like to do here on FSU Weather is introduce these concepts that might sound a little bit more complex. Like, we know that our viewers understand what a physical river that flows through terrain is, but they may not necessarily know what an atmospheric river. So I'm going to go ahead and delve into this jargon and explain it. So right now, as I presented earlier, and you saw with that extreme, exceptional drought numbers across the Southwest, there is definitely a drought in that region. Is there relief on the way? Yes, that is what this atmospheric river is, and that is going to bring a lot of moisture in a concentrated area into this region, and it's just going to perpetually exist over the next few days. So that region is going to be dumped with lots and lots of precipitation over the next few days, and that might cause some dangerous conditions. So as you can see on the drought monitor, it's a little bit zoomed to the east right now. Not sure what's going on there, but as you can see, exceptional drought all throughout the states of Arizona, Utah, Nevada, into California. And this region is currently, as you can see on radar, being inundated we're just going to say populated with lots of precipitation. Snow through the state of Arizona, rain in Las Vegas and Tijuana, into the southern part of the state, and that is going to potentially, when you have a drought, soil is not able to absorb as much moisture as it is used to because it has been dry for so long. And we're going to potentially experience maybe some mudslides, maybe some flash flooding, could be some detrimental effects to this. So this may not be as good as of a thing as we thought, and you can really start to see this atmospheric river on the upper level water vapor map, where this arrow is where the moisture is being sucked up behind this low pressure system, and it's going to flow into the state of Arizona, into the desert, where it's just perpetually dumping more and more rain. Usually on this graphic in this region, we see these brown colors that are down in Mexico, and these systems would be up towards Seattle and Portland. However, because of the current shift in the pattern right now, we have them flowing into the same region over and over again, and that is what an atmospheric river is. So similar to how a river is water perpetually flowing through a riverbed, an atmospheric river is when there's perpetual precipitation and moisture flowing into the same region. That can cause flooding and mudslides. However, it is only temporary relief for the conditions we have experienced, especially because the drought there has been so potent for so long. But now, for a look at Florida, I'm going to pass things off to Chandler.
All right, thank you, Jonathan. That was a very informative segment. Now let's talk about Florida. Florida, we can see current conditions in the 70s for most of the area. Pensacola is the exception. They're at 69. And then you get into the central Florida region, have low 70s to mid 70s, excuse me, and mid 70s as well in South Florida. Current conditions, pretty clear, some clouds rolling through, but no rain, and that's the main story for today. However, that will change tomorrow. We can see that there's some clouds rolling through in the Key West, Miami region. That's not going to be that big of a deal, however. And you look at the temperatures, they'll get up into the 80s tomorrow and Wednesday, and then they'll dip down once that cold front reaches them, which is actually a surprise. They usually do not get that cold front. However, they will get it this week. And then you can see that Tampa, same story. They will get up into the 70s for both tomorrow and Wednesday, but they'll dip down into the 60s for their high on Thursday. And then Orlando's same way. They'll get up into the 80s, and then they'll dip back down to 60s. Current conditions, you can see really there's nothing going on. It's pretty clear. There's some clouds down in the southern part of central Florida. And then you get up into Orlando, you can see maybe there's a few clouds, but not really much to talk about. North Florida, more clouds. That's I guess something you can talk about. There's also looks like a little bit of like green spots populating the screen, but not really actual precipitation. Clouds rolling through Gainesville and Cross City and also Jacksonville. Our temperatures that we can expect for Jacksonville, they'll get up into the 70s for Tuesday and Wednesday, but again, that cold front will sweep through, and we'll see temperatures only get up to 58 for the high on Thursday. And this will be similar in Pensacola. They will only get up into the 70s, actually, for tomorrow and Wednesday, and that's because of the clouds that will keep them from getting as high as the rest of these locations. However, once we get into Thursday, because of that cold front again, they will decrease, or their high will only get to the 50s. And then we can look at satellite radar, have some precipitation over in Mobile. And we can talk about tonight's lows. Again, 60s for most area. You can get down into Miami with 70. And then for the highs, we can talk about 70s for the northern Florida region, and then 80s down in central Florida and as well as South Florida. Now I'm going to hand things off to Jonathan with a look at our local.
So tonight I have been very heavily focused on more national and regional affairs, but I'm so excited to be able to finally zoom back into the Tallahassee region, where we have this gorgeous cotton candy sunset caused by these partly cloudy conditions, over Doak Campbell Stadium. 70 degrees right now. We're in for a very mild evening in the Tallahassee region, and part of that is because of this cloud cover that we see developing across the region. The cloud cover is going to trap some of the moisture in the air and some of the outward radiation, which is then going to cause temperatures to be much warmer throughout the region. Current conditions, as I mentioned, it's 70 in Tallahassee, a little bit warmer up in Bainbridge and a little bit cooler down by the coast, where we have potentially some sea breeze as we return to summer-like conditions. That's going to be reflected in the dew point where, speaking of dew point, my glasses are really humid and muggy and fogged up right now, so I'm just going to take them off. And 63 in Tallahassee, 67 in Perry, 66 in Apalachicola. This is caused by a surge of moisture flowing northward, reflected in our wind gusts. 9 in Tallahassee, wind gusts about 10 miles per hour across the entire region, and that is really showing the strength of this moisture being advected northward that is then going to translate into this storm system that we have moving through. Notice we'll have a few showers, and then that's when, by tomorrow evening at about 6 p.m., we will then have stronger thunderstorms set up from Thomasville down through Tallahassee and Apalachicola. And in these storms, this is that marginal risk of severe weather that we were talking about earlier. This is where you could have a gusty wind from about 45 to maybe 65 miles per hour. Nothing too significant, but I would definitely suggest to our viewers that you take any porch furniture off your porch or any outdoor trash bags or anything. I would go ahead and move those indoors to a garage such that there is a less chance of it blowing away. Moving on into your day planner forecast tomorrow, unfortunately, it is not going to be as pretty as the background photo here. Tomorrow is going to be a stormy, ugly day with storms being scattered in nature in the morning. 65 temperatures are going to warm up through the day as that southerly flow persists, up to about 73 by the afternoon. However, I think it's not going to feel a pleasant 73. It's going to be more of your nasty, sticky, ugly, gross, rainy 73 tomorrow. And then looking at your week ahead, these sticky, nasty 73-ish temperatures are going to begin to persist from Tuesday into Wednesday. But Wednesday, we finally have a cold front push through. By the time the basketball game hits on Wednesday night, I want to remind our viewers, not only do you need to bring a mask with you to the tuck, you also are going to need to bring an umbrella and a rain jacket, as temperatures are going to begin to plummet as the storm system moves by. 37 Wednesday evening into Thursday morning, and then the clear, warmer conditions will continue to come back through the weekend. But now I'm going to pass things off to Robert to conclude our show.
Right, thank you, Jonathan. We really do have a little bit of a mixed bag for us coming up into this week. Right now, however, our big event coming up is this stormy season going to happen tomorrow. We have a little bit, like we have all been talking about, a marginal risk. Going to need to keep your weather radio on if you like that, or just have some apps downloaded that will keep you informed. You might have a slight chance of maybe a few showers and thunderstorms that could get like to 45 to 60 miles per hour. Could be maybe severe. We're going to have to see about that. But again, not going to be a major, big, severe event like we usually see later in the spring here. Going to have to wait for those. But right now, we do have quite a packed show tonight, which we were talking about. We have snow in New York and maybe even blizzard conditions in Iowa. And we have even this atmospheric river returning to Arizona, which is maybe alleviating those drought conditions. It's really good for you guys out there. But closer to home here, we have a little bit of course, a mixed bag. We have some showers and storms coming here, and if we do have maybe some warmer conditions coming into the middle of the week, and as we get into the weekend, it will, of course, get into a little bit maybe rainy conditions again, as is the case here for Florida usually. But as all good things must end, our show must too. Follow us on Twitter at FSU Weather. Like us on Facebook, of course, at FSU Weather 2. And every night at 6 p.m., watch us on YouTube at FSU Weather. We always like to stream live there and on Channel 4. Follow us on Instagram at FSU Weather. And just from all of us here tonight, it's been a great show to have. We've been great to inform you about the weather and these rainy conditions coming up. And all these, this drought and snow, all the weather. We're always here for you at FSU Weather. But from here at the desk and at the wall, I'm Robert Zott, student meteorologist, and I'd like to say a good night to all of you.